This structure has been found on Mars. Was it once a great Martian building left to crumble into dust? I found a second structure. Welcome back to the bunker. It's thought that millions or even billions of years ago, Mars was much like Earth. Flowing water, thick atmosphere, even life. Long ago, the planet's atmosphere was lost, and with it, its capability to sustain life. Ravaged by eons of solar wind and erosion, the planet's surface is now bare. What would Earth and humanity's greatest structures look like after billions of years left to the elements? A lot like this, I'd assume. So this image came from a 2014 Mars reconnaissance orbit capture, showing what appears to be an ancient foundation or grid-like structure buried in the Martian landscape. Of course, theories and speculation have run wild. Could this be a remnant of some ancient civilization, a base of operations long ago abandoned? Let's take a closer look. It looks completely out of place on the Martian surface due to the fact that it looks so human. The foundations of a building. Now, I've used some filters on the image to try and bring out some more of the details, and as you can see, it really does make things clearer for us. We've clearly got what looks like two 90-degree angles at diagonals to one another. It really does look like some kind of foundations, and there are hints at the foundation underneath the sand which would complete that square-like structure. You can see here I've tried to draw connecting lines from where it looks like the edges of the structure are. And it doesn't make a perfect square, but obviously I can be slightly out. Don't forget that things can move and crumble over time. To visualize the structure better, I've taken the obvious 90-degree building foundation looking structure and copied it across to the other corners so that we can see what it would hopefully look like without the dust. When you look at it like this, it looks so obvious that this could be a building-like structure hidden under the sand. But remember, this is a lie. It's something that I've made to help us visualize what it could look like under the sand. Something else that I find interesting is that the thickness of the walls at the bottom seem to be matched by the hint of the thickness of the walls in the corners also. We all remember the Mars face that was found. A structure that seemed to be built straight out of the lunar surface, a face looking out into the solar system. It's an incredible structure, but a closer look shows that this image of the face may have just been a trick of the light. And when the shadows aren't in such a convenient position, the face tends to disappear. Mars has no shortage of strange structures that seem to hint at a history and a past that isn't merely of a barren planet. Back to our foundation of a building, a Mars base. Well, when we look at this structure from another angle, things do tend to fall apart slightly. Now you can still see that right angle structure, but the rest of the structure definitely loses its shape. Experts argue that wind erosion, fractures in rock, geological processes are enough to explain this strange formation. And it is just another case of pareidolia, which is the human tendency to find meaning in shapes. But let's take a different approach. Let's look at some human structures which are just thousands of years old, been left to time. Let's look at a couple of these and see how they've held up, how they compare. First of all, we've got this structure in Israel, which looks kind of similar, right? Obviously there's a lot more stones and there's a lot less sand, but you can see that the ravages of time have brought this structure back to its foundations. Now imagine this covered in dust. Imagine just one corner sticking out, the other corner hidden by dust. Would we be saying that that was just a geological formation that our brains have just created a story with? Take a look at this structure, built by ancient humans. Even to my eye now, it doesn't look like much, apart from the fact that you can say something maybe brought a lot of these stones together. Other than that, it just looks like a random assembly of stones. It doesn't look like much, but it was built by intelligence. It was built by humans. Now, nature is capable of creating 90-degree angles. We can have even perfect squares in these pyrite crystals. But a 90-degree on this scale that looks like a wall, I'm not so sure. So the experts tell us it's just geology, it's not real. But I found another structure. It's another 90-degree angle. It looks like it's a hint at another foundation-like structure, but I guess could just be geology over eons of time creating this shape. But no, I made this. I took a blank part of the Mars surface and I took an ancient Syrian fort and merged them together. And the reason I did this is because I want to show you guys that something that we know is built by humans was built by an intelligence that looks just like a square hidden in dust, can't always be disregarded. What do you guys think? Is this a hint at Martian civilization, or is it just rocks? That's it for today, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the show. If you did, please give me a like and subscribe. Catch me on the next one.